welcome to my channel. We're doing things a little bit different today. I'm doing a speed build of a cafe and I'm going to take you guys through this with a voiceover. As you guys may or may not know, there was recent patch updates and also an SDX drop which included a few new features, and one of it being 3 new build by items, a mood lamp, a table, and a chair. And the moment I saw the table and the chair, the vibes just screamed out at me to start building this cafe that I've actually wanted to build for quite some time now. So yeah, I thought I would kind of talk about it because I really love the way it looks and also kind of bring you guys through this speed build. Not sure how this is gonna go, but this is a first and we gotta start somewhere. So here we are building the exterior of this cafe, and the concept is that the bottom floor is the cafe and retail area, and then the upstairs is a studio where the owner lives. So I set this in Magnolia Promenade because there's like a few retail stores, restaurants over there. So I decided to name this place Maggie's Corner, and I imagine that Maggie has always wanted to live out her dreams of having a cafe, and because it's so much of her life, it's literally her heart and soul, so she also wants to live in the compounds. Therefore, she found this space big enough to house both like her living space and the cafe. So if you can see, I have this little like bump out on the left side of the building. That is where the little sort of library slash retail spot is. Initially I put in these counters or islands because I wanted it to kind of be a sort of a working space for the patrons, but I decided in the end you'll see that the final outcome is more of like a retail spot. So we have books, and then I also of course included my favorite kit, the Blooming Rooms kit. Really love that kit and would highly recommend if you love building and you love plants. I did end up decorating that room with a lot of plants, some bookshelves, and then put in a little, register. So besides that, which I will come back to, I'm now building the main area, which is the cafe bar. What do you call that? I think it's an espresso bar from Get Together. So I'm putting that in because I'm making this lot a cafe. So there are several requirements that you have if you change your lot type, and so this espresso bar was one that was required for cafes. So because the espresso bar isn't very spacious, I decided to add in also several counters, and then a fridge, a little condiment bar, and yeah. So this is the public bathroom, so the main bathroom. Over here, I also later on added one more bathroom that was meant more of like a staff bathroom, if you will, and also of course one in the loft or studio. Let's see, what am I doing here? Oh yes, so I decided to put a booth seat over here. This one is from Dine Out. I thought, what better way to make use of that little corner over there and give it a little like sunshine into the spot. And here I'm trying to like mix the colors. I'm not very good at like sort of mixing the colors separately, and besides they actually have it already built in, the booth seats and the table together, so I thought why not just color drop from there and see how it goes. So I decided on this light wood which kind of sort of matched the counters and then the white seats. Here I am placing down the newest tables and chairs from the SDX drop. As I told you, I really love them. They look so chic and I don't know, it just looks so comfy. I forgot to check what the comfort level on this chair is, but it just looks so comfy. Like I would love one of those seats myself. And those tables, oh my god, I really love that marble top and gold rim. Such a perfect combination, white and gold. And I also have this deck outside. I guess you could call it a veranda because later on I do add like a bit of a roof and hanging garden situation. Right now I'm just adding some touches to the sort of, I guess you can call the kitchen section of the cafe. Adding a little menu board and a couple of items like cups and things like that, just to kind of flesh out the space a bit. And now we're moving back to the seating areas. I'm trying to figure out how to furnish the tables. Initially, I wanted to just put plants and everything because, that's just easier. And then for flooring, I don't know if anyone else has a hard time doing floorings. I really love this herringbone. Is it a tile? I think it's a tile. But as you will see later on, I ended up picking this wallpaper with the wainscoting, so it was a bit too chaotic, if you will. It was a bit too noisy, so I decided to tone it down with regular plank tiles. Right now I'm adding the sort of botanical portion of this retail space, so I wanted to furnish it so it feels very naturey. And to be honest, sometimes this shelf I don't really want to waste and get like decorating it, because to be honest I'm not like the best at cluttering. I'm still learning, so sometimes I kind of just pick from the style rooms because they do look good and there's no shame in doing that. I really love this table from Blooming Rooms kit, and I decided to kind of put a few more plants there and a bunch of magazines and books that the patrons can browse from. And also a little potted plant by the cashier. Kind of looked like someone's buying a plant, I guess. Here I'm adding a few more plants to the space to, I guess, I don't know, I wanted to give it a bit of like a Amazonian rainforest feel, I guess. And I just want to give a shout out to Twisted Maxie's tool mod. It's been so useful in this build because there's a couple items which are just, there are some things in Build by Catalog that are just too huge, and you just need to size them down to a more appropriate size for your builds sometimes. Like, they're great, but you have to admit, some of the items are just very strangely sized, might I add. So here I'm still figuring out the floors. As you can tell, I always have a tough time with this. If you've seen my other speed builds, you've noticed that either wallpapers or floors, I always take the longest time to make a decision on. And here are these chairs, which, as you can see, I'm very indecisive about as well. Those chairs have like such beautiful swatches that it was such a hard time for me to pick a color. I really loved the purple and the greens, or teal. Initially I wanted to go for an all white, but I decided I would only leave the whites on the veranda seats, because the Sims team, they know what they're doing. By putting that teal color as the default swatch, really got me there. That green, or teal, goes really well with that white table, I think. Don't you think? Let me know what you think, if you've played around with these new Built By items and what your favorite color swatches are, because they're all so lovely and it's honestly so hard to make a decision. Once again, here's one of those things that's very oddly sized. So tool mod to the rescue again, and yeah, more plants. I don't know, you can never have too many plants, can you? Here I'm just testing out the neon sign, seeing how it looks, trying to figure out more of this outdoor seating situation. If you can see this right bump out where the plant decor is, that section on the upstairs I eventually turned into the studio bathroom, because I guess, the owner still needs somewhere to shower, and I didn't really think it through where the bathroom was gonna go, so it just kind of got shoved into that column over there. But you know what, it made it work. Those little showers from either Snowy Escape or Discovery University, they really do help with small spaces, or in this case space constraints, because they only require one tile and you can virtually put them next to any toilet or sink and it'll work. So that's always a plus. And now I am working on the balcony space that is just outside of the studio. This was a perfect space for hosting guests, so I'm once again trying to decorate it with some plants, a little sitting area, got a barbecue pit going, and then I decided to put the table by the end of the balcony. It gives a really nice view of Magnolia Promenade. And it can comfortably sit 3 people. We have another 2 seats over there for friends to lounge and hang out. And yeah, I think it's a pretty good sized balcony, if I might say so myself. And here's me just trying to figure out which plant goes where. And yeah, adding some lights as well. I think we're about done here, and I will be moving on to the studio itself really soon. Okay, so coming down to the studio, I wanted to give it, well, look, there's me again trying to justify using this herringbone tile. So I've placed it in the studio, but I will tell you, I definitely did not use it, because in the end I decided to give the studio a very grungy feel, kind of like those loft studios you'd see in New York and whatever. So I give it a more rundown feel in the end. So for this space, I wanted to put that staircase, as you can tell, but you know, it didn't really work out, and I was like, why not I just extend this deck out? That would make so much more sense. Then I don't have to deal with that weird gap between the ground and the door. I'm over here now trying to decorate this space, and oh my goodness, it took me so long because I was like, oh my gosh, what can I put here? I wanted to put that little graffiti thing on the brick wall, but then it wasn't really that visible, so it didn't make sense, and I dropped this idea for a moment while I went ahead and started on decorating the studio space. Here I'm trying to figure out how I was going to create the route up to the studio, and here's where I'm gonna talk about how I kind of dislike that you cannot own cafes. You can only, with Get to Work, own retail stores or restaurants. So that's kind of a bummer. And as far as gameplay, it's kind of hard to make this functional as both a cafe and living space because of that. So I guess the way to kind of work around it would probably either just be to have it as a retail or restaurant space, although like I mentioned before, different lot types have different requirements, and for restaurant spaces you need things like a host station, a waiter, and I think one of those kitchen bars. So that would then change up this space a lot. Another thing I've tried with that was to do that, but to size down the items. Oh, it's really strange, because then you'll have like your employees just kind of working with size down items that you can't see, and they're kind of working in the air, as I put it. But I guess that's one way you can kind of work around it. And the staircase, I eventually did put kind of like a little gate by it, so I guess if you did that, you can do the settings to where you can lock for certain people, or lock or unlock only for employees or household members, or else you could probably just put it as a retail space or generic or residential, and then, you know, kind of work from there. But I believe there are also mods that allow you to buy spaces other than just retail and restaurants, so there is a lot to explore in the Sims world. Anyways, back to the studio furnishing. Like I said earlier, I wanted to give it a very rundown industrial loft kind of vibe, so I used the industrial loft kit, which I have not in a while, and this is actually one of my favorite sofas. I really love the color scheme, the tones of the wood and the combination of the metal pipes, and also the texture on this sofa is something else. It is so realistic, and also the addition of that little roll on top of it. Love those little touches, and the items go so well for this idea. So yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer to use that kit for this studio. And yeah, as you can see, I'm doing my usual thing of copy pasting the bathroom, because let's be real, at least for this build, they're really small bathrooms, and I'm not gonna go in there and furnish it too much, so they're kind of gonna look similar. So I did end up actually building quite a bit on the exterior and landscape But I do not have a video of that, so I'll have a little walkthrough in a bit to show you what the exterior looks like and how this build came to be. And that concludes today's speed build of this cafe. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe for more of these videos. If you'd like to see more photos of this build, head on over to my Instagram. My handle is fantastic07, and you can also download this build over on the gallery with the same ID. All links will be in the description box below. Thanks for joining me on this speed build, and I hope to catch you in the next one.